I love it. It's recording in progress now. Hey, everybody, this is Kenny and
Kenny Squared.
with the Sports on the Positive Tip Podcast. Welcome back. Kenny, how you doing there in Cleveland?
We're doing well. Everyone was hyped here today because the Browns had I think it was a team scrimmage or something like that. Like over 30,000 people showed up. There's a lot of excitement already, and we haven't even hit the preseason yet.
I mean, listen, I'd be shocked if the Browns didn't get into the playoffs again and then make a little bit of a deep run this year, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And people will be mad if they don't, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got a really good team, and I think they finally have the right coach. I finally could see how he looks. Last year, I was like, how does this guy even look? We never saw him because his mask would like cover his whole face, you know. Yeah, we'll get to some football though, but it's interesting that there's some excitement there. So have the folks there given up on the Browns? Not the Browns, the Indians, or the Guardians.
Yeah, the soon-to-be Guardian. I saw, I think it was on ESPN. Instead of calling them the Indians, they call them the soon-to-be Guardians. Like, okay, whatever. But
okay.
But yeah, I think they kind of have, like Terry Francona. I don't know if you heard, he's going to be taking care of himself physically, so he's not coming back.
A lot of honestly, health issues.
Yeah. I think he might just be done in general. I can't tell why they're giving, like, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of hype about this team. But also, Cleveland's much more of a football city than a baseball city. Everyone was excited when the Indians won their 22 straight, but they love the Browns. Even if they're 0-16, that place will sell out. So,
yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Well, that's interesting. Well, let's get right to it because what a difference another week makes here as Yankees continue to climb. A little disappointed they didn't, take all of that series. They lost yesterday. But my Mets going in the opposite direction. So why don't we start with the Mets, and then we'll come to the good news with the Yankees. I don't know. I couldn't tell you exactly what's wrong with this team. And, they've battled injuries all year, but they've got a lot of their guys back. Although Baez looks like he might be out for a little bit. He got hurt yesterday swinging. It looked like he hurt his hip. And I didn't think they would miss Lindor that much because Lindor was very up and down, all year. They definitely missed DeGrom because you need that stopper. And Taijuan Walker, while he pitched well yesterday, he's been a kind of a shell of himself. And, the bullpen has still been good. It's not like, the pitching has fell apart. I mean, it lost 3-0 yesterday, 5-3 the other day. They're just not hitting. And it's happened all at once. I mean, you go on the road and you lose 3 out of 4 against the Marlins. And, the Phillies, I want to give them credit. I don't want to just say it's the Mets collapsing, but the Phillies have gotten hot. They've won 8 straight. And Girardi was actually smiling, in the dugout, which was good to see. But yeah, he's got that team going in the right direction. I mean, straight up, I would think that the Mets and Braves both have more talent than the Phillies, but the X factor is Joe Girardi. No knock on my manager. It's certainly no knock on the Braves manager, but Girardi is a championship caliber manager, and that team, for them to be where they're at with their bullpen is really, really amazing. I mean, Ian Kennedy has definitely helped. That was a big pickup. I was like, when did he become a closer? But, I thought he was still a starter, like with the Diamondbacks or somebody, but But he's been a nice pickup. They have a nice starting pitcher pickup, and they've gotten healthy, right? So they've got Didi, they've got Segura, all back in there now. Harper, I got to give him credit, although his RBIs are shockingly low, but I got to give him credit. He's hitting, 302. He hit the big home run Friday night, blast over the center field fence. He hit a big home run yesterday. So, I mean, they're going in the right direction. The Mets just going in the opposite direction. And I don't know what the formula is. They're starting pitching even without DeGrom has been good. It hasn't been bad. Walker had been bad, but he straightened it out a little bit yesterday, he looked like. and the bullpen is still held up. So I'm not sure what to make of the team. It's just been the hitting. I mean, you can't really sit Michael Conforto, but he's still batting like 190, 197 or something like that.
Ouch.
And he's been a 300 hitter in his career, not his whole career, but he's had a couple of years where he's batted over 300. And so I don't know what to, what the issue is. I mean, the only thing that I'll say is that, baseball is such a long season, the ebbs and flows, and hopefully this is their cold streak. And now maybe they get on a roll, but they have to play the Dodgers a lot. They play the Giants a lot. They haven't played them yet this year. They do play the Nationals, but the Nationals aren't playing that bad, but the Mets have always done, historically, the last several years, have done well against the Nationals, even when they were good. So I don't know, man. It's been really disappointing, and you felt it coming because they hadn't really been playing well since the All-Star break, and even a little bit before that. And Pete Alonso also, my goodness, he's like 0 for 20 now. He got into a horrible slump, and I think what made it bad, and we'll get to the Yankees after this. What really rubbed salt into the wound yesterday was Zach Wheeler just pitched an absolute gem. I mean, he retired 22 in a row.
Wow.
Brandon Nimmo, it was a one-hitter. Brandon Nimmo got a leadoff hit and 22 in a row. Then they got a walk, and then really nothing after that. And here's a guy that they let walk that they definitely could be using right now. And I didn't think that the Phillies overpaid him either. No. I think based on what you knew he could do, but he's fulfilling his potential now. So anyway, I mean, that's my only hope. I mean, they're not hitting in the clutch. I think on Friday they left 17 men on base. Saturday, I think they left 13. They really didn't leave anybody on base yesterday because I think they left one on base. I think they stranded Brandon Nimmo in the first inning. But their schedule is going to be tough, and they've got the National Sunday night game with the Dodgers this weekend coming up. So we'll see. Let's see how tough they get, but they're going to fall right out of the race if they hit like this for another week.
Yeah, and I was looking too. That's brutal. They have the Nationals this week, but then 3 against the Dodgers, 3 against the Giants, 4 against the Dodgers, 3 against the Giants. So that's not easy. Yeah. And also, this is Philly over the last month. So they play Miami, and then the Brewers, which that's a tough game or tough series. Right. And then Colorado, the Cubs, and then the Mets, the Orioles, the Pirates, and the Braves. So they have a very easy schedule. So these next couple of weeks are going to be huge. You can't be looking and being down like 7 games because that's going to be hard to make up in the end.
They won't make that up. And the wild card's not going to come out of the East. There's no way. No. You may have the 2 wild cards coming out of the West, or you'll definitely have one out of the West and one out of the Central. But my sense is that 2 wild cards will come out of the West, even without Tatis there. So it looks a little bleak. I have hope. There's still no word exactly on when DeGrom will be back, though. I'd have more hope if I knew he was coming back, because a guy like that keeps you out of those losing streaks, because you know what you're going to get out of him every 5 days. But, Stroman's been good. McGill has been quite a find. Rich Hill has been good. So it's not the pitching. It's all the hitting, and they've slumped off. And JD Davis is like relegated now to the bench. I was shocked when he first came back after he was hurt. He was hitting like crazy. And I'm just not sure what was wrong. I don't know if the trade rumors got to him. You would have thought, though, there would have been a relief after the 31st, because I would have been sure that he would have been gone. I was shocked when they got Baez, and the next thing I thought I was going to read was that they traded JD Davis for him. But so I don't know. It's not going to be easy. On the other hand, your team has righting the ship. So talk to us about what's been going on with the Yankees.
Yeah, and it's funny you say trade rumors, because I think another guy that's had to deal with that a little bit is Luke Voit. They say that they had a trade in place, but mystery team backed out of it at the last minute. And it's a good thing they did, because now Anthony Rizzo has COVID. So it's interesting because for most of this season, while there's been a lot of ups and downs, it's been really one of the positive things is that everyone for the most part has stayed healthy. Like Luke Voigt has kind of had a bit of a lost season. Kluber's been hurt. Severino's still rehabbing. But other than that, like this Yankee team has kind of stayed healthy. And then like, I don't know what's happened since the All-Star break. Overall, the Yankees have lost 12 guys to COVID over the last month. And then also within that, Domingo Germán, who's really started to right the ship, went down with an injury. Gio Urshela is now hurt. Gleyber Torres just joined the IL earlier today. So like the left side of the infield for the Yankees is Wade and a guy that they just called up from AAA that I've never heard of. So wow. We're kind of back at that spot in the season, which it seems like that's kind of been the Yankees, but it seemed to be working. Joey Gallo had his shining moment as a Yankee with a huge 3-run home run in the 7th in that first game against Seattle. And that kind of set the tone for me throughout the rest of the series. And I think one of the bigger things too, it's Joey Gallo had said after the game that getting that curtain call, his 10-year-old self would have loved it. I love the fact that he was like a Yankee fan growing up. I think he seems to be a good fit. Obviously, Rizzo has been a good fit too. But it seems like because this team is a little bit more balanced, everyone's kind of been pulling their weight a little bit better. Like Judge has been pretty consistent. Stanton has been in like a slump forever, but now he's finally getting out of it. Gleyber Torres has looked pretty good the last couple of weeks after kind of hitting a slump. And of course, now he gets hurt. Brett Gardner with a huge hit. What's that?
The trade rumors with him too, I think, maybe bothered him.
Yeah, I think so too. And honestly, I don't even know what they're going to do come next year. Because like, I don't know. I would probably sign Rizzo for a few years, but I don't know. That's just me. But it seems like, once again, though, the Yankees seem to be doing it a lot with their pitching. But I don't know how, because right now their opening day rotation was Cole, Kluber, Germán, Montgomery, and Tyone. The first 4 guys are all on the injured list. So, and Tyone has been amazing. So he's kind of been the guy there. But like, they're doing it really with a lot of this makeshift stuff. Oh, I forgot. Chapman's also on the injured list. So,
he never seems to get hurt. I was surprised to hear that. I can't remember the last time that he was hurt for a long period of time, from his days with the Cubs, with the Reds, and his days with the Yankees here. I don't remember him being hurt.
No, he's usually pretty like he always goes through like that slump that he went through where he just kind of forgets how to pitch. But like, I guess it's fine. I think too, this series against, because like against the Orioles, they did what they should have done. Go and slap him around a little bit. But like Seattle, a team that's still kind of in the race, and you had the chance to sweep them, but kind of blew it at the end. I think that shows that this team could actually do something. This week to me will be big, going to Kansas City. And then are you going to be watching the Field of Dreams game on Thursday?
Oh, I'll watch it. Those uniforms look kind of weird, but I'll definitely watch it. I think it's going to be fun. And Field of Dreams is probably my all-time favorite movie.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. So, but that's a huge series, I think, for the Yankees also. The White Sox have great pitching, but the Yankees also somehow are figuring it out. Nestor Cortez has been amazing. I guess that was Friday night, they did the bullpen game, and like they had 9 different pitchers. None of them pitched 2 innings, and they won. It was like the first time ever that's happened. So
wow.
It's a wild ride.
It is a wild ride, but I want to ask you about the rest of the American League. I did get to I tuned in because I thought it was kind of interesting, and it was the first time ever that the Sunday night game had been on ABC, because ESPN was covering the Hall of Fame. And so the Sunday night game was on ABC last night, Cubs and White Sox. And I caught a time where Alex Rodriguez was saying, in his opinion, the White Sox can absolutely win a championship this year. And he really broke it down very nicely why he thought that was, but he really kept coming back to that the X factor was Tony La Russa, who's probably now at 76 years old. He's settled in. I mean, we kind of chuckled a little bit about that hire at first, and then we didn't think he would relate, but he's done a great job. Got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, he's one of the all-time great managers for sure. Yeah. So the rest of the American League, what do you think? The White Sox, Houston, Oakland, but more importantly for you, Tampa and Boston. What are your thoughts there? Do you see any of them slowing down? Have you seen any cracks with any of those teams who had that? I mean, if you take those teams right there, that's 5 teams, right? So it would be hard for the Yankees to get in. They got to catch one of those teams, right? Not the White Sox so much, but either Oakland or Houston or Tampa or the Red Sox. What do you think?
Yeah, and right now, I would say the team that looks the most vulnerable is Boston. They've really struggled over the last 10 games. I'm pulling it up here. Of course, it's going to take a while. They're 2-8 in their last 10. They had a brutal loss yesterday. George Springer hitting a walk-off home run. Of course, I sent that to my friends that love the Red Sox, but they seem like kind of a bit of a vulnerable team. They seem like they could have done more at the trade deadline. I don't know. Also with the Rays, to me, like at first I was like, no, this team can't be this good. But also like they traded away Blake Snell. Charlie Morton's also gone, and yet they're still doing what they do.
I don't know how they do it. I really don't.
So maybe them.
Yeah. I have no idea how Tampa does it. So you're thinking the Red Sox might be the team that for the Yankees to zero in on to maybe catch. I'm thinking Oakland as well, although Oakland typically has usually a great August and September, so they might be hard to catch. But I definitely think. How many games out are the Yankees now from the second wild card?
Right now, both Oakland and Boston are tied, and the Yankees are 2.5 games back of both of them. They also play Boston 6 more times.
Yeah, that's doable. Do they have any other games head-to-head with Oakland, do you know, off the top of your head?
I want to say, they do. End of August, they play 4 against Oakland.
They play 4. That'll be a big – oh, my gosh, that's a big series. That'll be a big series, especially if the Yankees keep playing well. That's going to be a big series. Is that if you have it in front of you, is that in New York or out in Oakland? It's in New York.
No, it's in Oakland.
Okay.
This is their road trip. They go 2 against the Braves, then 4 at Oakland, and then 4 at the Angels.
4 at Oakland and 4 at the – wow, that's tough. That's tough. Although the Angels
3 at the Angels.
3 at the Angels. Okay. The Angels are strange team.
Yeah.
I can't nobody can put their finger on that. They need to get a couple of really big pitchers because they're gonna let this window close where they have 2 of the best players in baseball, and nobody's gonna see them in the postseason. They need to get some pitching. They need to get a bullpen. I know Rendon and Trout are both hurt, but get those guys back. They would still probably be where they're at right now. So it's interesting. I think there's a nice window there for the Yankees. Only 2.5 now out. There's a lot of baseball left, right? At least 50 games, I think, for all the teams. So there's still a lot of big games. That's a big series. 4-game series against Oakland. Those 6 games against the Red Sox will be huge. So this is going to be fun. This is absolutely going to be fun. So, all right. Yankees are back. Mets are faltering. Let's shift gears a little bit. I want to jump to the NBA, and then we can do kind of a wrap up with the best right-handed hitter. And maybe we even do more of that next week. Best right-handed hitters of all time. We saw an article on MLB.com. But what did you think about Kemba Walker coming home to New York? Because he's a New York guy. UConn took them to the championship. Got cut by Oklahoma City. And it's not a huge investment on the Knicks because, he got brought out, so he's paid. So, and then with that, they re-signed Julius Randle 4 more years. So we'll have him in the fold. Don't have to worry about that. They signed the guy from the Celtics. So, but Kemba Walker, I think, was a big key. But you didn't see him gaga. What were your thoughts on the Knicks signing Kemba Walker?
I like the move. I think it'll be a good fit, especially since he's not going to have to. I feel like the Celtics relied on him a lot more than the Knicks will have to rely on him. Because you'll have Julius Randle will be kind of the main centerpiece. Derrick Rose also will kind of have a lot of times to shine there. And then like he doesn't even have to go like play point with the second unit because you got Quickly. You also have Rose for that. So I think it's a good signing. I guess my only issue is he hasn't really stayed healthy. So I think relying on him for 82 games a lot. But also, one of the only concerns I have now is if this team doesn't work, this team's going to be kind of stuck for the next few years. So they don't really have a ton of cap space. Signing Fournier for a 4-year deal, signing for 3, signing Randall for 4. You don't really have the flexibility, but I guess you can always like move some of those pieces. So I think in the end, I think I like it. I don't think the Knicks have the firepower to deal with Brooklyn or Milwaukee anyway, because like they're just so loaded. But I think they could, especially if Atlanta went to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think the Knicks could follow a similar path this upcoming year. But the biggest key to me is like they need guys that are going to step up in the playoffs. I think Randall kind of was a deer in headlights, but I think now with some experience and also not getting double teamed every time he touches the ball really help him out.
Well, you mentioned cap space. Do you think that so then the only other way to improve the team is obviously through a big trade, and obviously we're talking about Damian Lillard, right, or Bradley Beal, one of those two guys. So do you think that maybe they've made these maneuvers so that maybe at the trade deadline, one of those guys might be pried free? I don't think Bradley Beal. I think Washington will probably have a much better team than they've had the last few years with some of the moves they made. That Russell Westbrook trade, I think, loaded them up. So I think they'll be solid. I think they'll be a solid team. And I don't think he'll want to leave. I mean, he hasn't asked to leave, since when they were really bad. But Lillard, I think, is the guy. I think that, if things start off bad for Chauncey Billups there, I could see the fans and the, media turning on him very quickly, and that situation going downhill pretty quick and him asking out. Lillard also has been just the ultimate pro. He hasn't asked them, for a trade. So, I mean, do you think that maybe the Knicks are setting themselves up for something like that?
Yeah, I think that's possible, especially like a guy like Fournier, I think can be really good because he's something the Knicks didn't have last year, and that's a guy that's a pretty decent shooter. He may not play great defense, but also you have Thibodeau, so he's going to play great defense. Otherwise, he won't play. But I think like that could be a possibility because you'll want to have like salaries that can match a little bit. And then also you could say, well, yeah, you have to give up this guy, but you can take a couple of like very good NBA players as well as a draft pick or two. But also I don't know if that's how much that is on the table. I heard that Ben Simmons, they were looking for like 4 first-round picks. The Warriors were interested, but then like the asking price was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I hope Ben Simmons. I hope and pray that Ben Simmons gets back to the way he was. I felt bad for him through the playoffs. I mean, he really, really struggled. He struggled most of last year, but particularly in the playoffs. And I would not give at this point, and no knock on him, I wouldn't even give a 1 first-round pick. I think unless I know that he's the player that he was 2 years ago. Now he's still really young too. And I guess going back to Kemba Walker, that's what it excites me because Kemba Who's still pretty young. Now, the health thing, you're right. For some reason, when he got to Boston, he just didn't play that much, last couple of years, because I can't imagine that the Celtics gave up on him that quick. But if he's healthy, I think he still has a lot in the tank. I really do. Yeah. All right. Well, we're excited about the Knicks. I mean, it's going to be a normal start to the season, right? Early November. So probably if everything goes well, we pray about COVID every day. So if everything goes well, that we'll have a regular NBA season this year. Although some of these guys will still be tired. I can't imagine like Kevin Durant playing in the Olympics after that long, deep run in the playoffs they had. But he did a great job. He really did. All right, so we ran across an article, right, about the best right-handed hitters ever. So I'm going to cut to the chase because we got to put Frank Robinson, Joe DiMaggio, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente. They were in a class by themselves. I'm sorry. And I don't mean to sound old school, but let's take a look at two guys that they mentioned a lot, and one guy you wasn't sold on. The article really kind of leaned towards Miguel Cabrera being one of the, if not the best right-handed hitter of all time. So why weren't you sold on that?
Well, I think part of it is I don't even think he was the best right-handed hitter, during his era. Like Albert Pujols is a better right-handed hitter than him.
Okay.
But I think also because even he's now, before I kind of get to this, he is going to hit a milestone. He's going to hit 2 milestones more than likely this year. That puts him in a very elite category. He's probably more than likely, I think he's 2 away or 3 away from hitting his 500 home run.
Right.
And then he's less than 100 away from 3,000 hits. So there's a good chance that he'll hit both this year or sometime early next year. So with that, he goes a very small exclusive category. But I don't know. There's still a couple of things. He does have a championship, which not everyone can say that. But I don't know. To me, there were times where, he was a very intimidating guy that man, if it was bases loaded, 7th, 8th inning, a couple times taking Mariano deep, you don't want to mess with him. Especially look at what was it, 2012 Triple Crown. I remember in that series in the ALCS, he destroyed the Yankees.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like there were times Albert Pujols was a better hitter.
Well, Cabrera has been a pretty clutch postseason hitter, and you and I are probably two dinosaurs that still look at that. And so Cabrera's been really good in the postseason. So the Triple Crown season, though, nobody had done that since 1967, right? Does that carry any weight for you?
It does, because especially no one's done it since. I remember what's his face, Vladdy Jr. is close this year, if I'm not mistaken. I'm checking his numbers.
Yeah.
But also that does carry weight, and there is an extent to where some of it's outdated because a lot of times, they look at RBIs as kind of an overrated stat. That's why a lot of guys, I think they don't care that they're 25 home runs, 56 RBIs. That's a close Aaron Judge stat. I don't have that accurate. Okay. Yeah. So Vladimir's got 87 RBIs. That leads the league. He is 2nd in home runs, 35, and 4th in batting average at 318. Michael Brantley is at 329.
He's got a shot.
It's a really hard thing to do.
Cabrera did it though. But I'm going to be with you though because I got to read some Albert Pujols stats here. because Bullholz has been an average player for such a long time now that we forget the years that he had in St. Louis and the first couple of years in with the Angels. So I'll do this. I don't, instead of every year, I want to highlight. So he's won the MVP 3 times, Albert Pujols. I'm not sure how many times Cabrera has won. Definitely at least once. In 2003, Albert Pujols, 157 games. He had 212 hits, 51 doubles, 43 homers, 124 RBIs, batted .359 in 2003. I mean, you know, that's a Hank Aaron, Willie Mays type year. In 2004, he had 196 hits, another 51 doubles, 46 homers, 123 RBIs, batted .331. 2005, 195 hits, 38 doubles, 41 homers, 117, .330. I mean, if you just go down these next several years, 2006, 49 homers, 137 RBIs, .331. And then I'm going to jump down to 2009, 45 doubles, 47 homers, 135 RBIs, batted .327. Even the next year, 2010, 42, 118, .312 with 39 more doubles. I mean, the guy was just a machine. And his first year with the Angels, he had 50 doubles, 30 homers, 105 RBIs. He batted .285. So he started to slip off there. The best year he had with the Angels was probably he had 2 other really good years with the Angels, 2015 and 2016. In 2015, he had 40 homers, 95 RBIs. So not too great there. 37 doubles, though. I'm sorry, 22 doubles. And he batted only .244, though, that year. So that's where he started to slip. But then the next year, he had 31 homers, 119 RBIs. He batted .268. So he still had some decent years on the downswing. And then from 2017, he still had 100 RBIs, 101 RBIs in 2017. But then he really slipped the next few years. And so, but he's up there in age now. I think he's like 41. The Angels knew that when they signed him to a 10-year contract when he's 31, right? 31 or 32 he was. And they gave him a 10-year deal. So they knew what they were getting. Yeah. That they would get those good years. He had some good years with the Angels. But his years with the Cardinals were off the charts. And he was clutch. We watched him in the postseason how many times? You know, hit home run after home run in the All-Star games. You know, he was just he's just a clutch
Brad
player.
Lidge.
Yeah. Think about that. That was with 2 outs in the 9th inning, right? Well,
yeah. And like, it would have been bigger if they ended up actually winning the series. I mean, like, the Astros won the next day, but like, I remember, like, I'm pretty sure that one's still in the air. But okay, I'll maybe back off a little bit with Miguel Cabrera, because actually look at this 5-year stretch from 2011 until 2015. First of all, he won back-to-back MVPs in 12 and 13. 2012 was his Triple Crown year. But out of those 5 years, you know, he led the league in average 4 times.
I mean,
344, 330. Like, wow.
It's amazing. I'm going to tell you who he reminds me of in a second. But go ahead, finish reading some of those stats.
So 344, 330, 348. In 2014, it was 313. And then 2015, 338, which I'm looking now. He only played in 119 games, but still, I guess, had enough at bats. He led the league in on-base percentage 3 years out of that, and led the league in slugging 2 years out of that. His OPS plus, which based on 100, it's at 190, so he's 90% better than the average player. 44 home runs, 137 RBIs. That's 2013, his second MVP. I guess when you look at that, like, 5-year stretch, 3-4, 30, 105, 330, 44, 139, 348, 44, 137, 313, 35, and 109, and then 338, 1876, which that was a shortened year. I can kind of get a little bit more behind him, but I do have someone that I would go ahead of him.
Who's that?
That's not Albert Pujols. That's Frank Thomas.
Well, that's who you read my mind. That's who I was going to compare Miguel Cabrera to, because Frank Thomas always hit for a high average for a big guy like that. But go ahead, hit me with some Frank Thomas. He won the MVP twice also.
Yeah, I'll start out with I guess this will be the better of the MVP years, ironically, in 94. So in 130 games, 353, but led the league with a 487 on base percentage.
Incredible.
And then slugged 729, which an OPS of 1217 is absolutely ridiculous. Like, people would see that nowadays, they'd be crazy.
Yeah.
OPS plus of 212, so twice as good as the average player and then some. The year before, his 93 year, which he also did. I also say that year he hit, where did I just lost it here? 38 home runs and 101 RBIs in 113 games. His other MVP season, 93, 317, 426 on base, 607 slugging. He hit 41 home runs and 128 RBIs.
I don't even know what to say.
That's insane.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say, man. He was a guy I was going to compare Miguel Cabrera to, and I don't know who is better. They just, for guys that when first of all were physically big guys, but to hit for that type of average with that type of power, you can only go back to like Hank Aaron, Frank Robinson, Joe DiMaggio. You can go back to guys like that, Willie Mays, Clemente. Clemente never really hit that many home runs, but to hit that many home runs and that type of average, those guys were just unbelievable. We're going to have to take a poll when we post this and who people think was the better right-handed hitter, Frank Thomas, Miguel Cabrera, or Albert Pujols. I'll take any of them on my team, but it's crazy close.
Yeah. I agree.
And, all of those guys had such power to like right center field, which to me, that's always the mark of just a great hitter. I don't know how many times I saw Frank Thomas hit home runs into right center. Frank Thomas didn't play on great teams though, and that was the one thing. We really didn't see him much in the postseason at all, if at all. I'd have to really think about that. Maybe you can look it up real quick. But, Cabrera and Pujols, I might give them the slight edge because of that, because they came through in the clutch. That Pujols home run, I'll never forget that. I think that was with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning off who that year was the best closer in baseball, no doubt. But that was the Carlos Beltran series where, Beltran he carried the Astros that year and in the playoffs. But all of them amazing players. All right, we'll continue the conversation. So next week, maybe we'll get a little bit into the Hall of Fame, because I'm going to tease with this question and then we'll wrap up. We saw Peyton with his acceptance speech last night. Very funny. I loved it. Peyton, definitely well-deserved. First ballot, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Will Eli get in? 2 Super Bowl championships, distinguished career. Don't answer it now. We're going to lead with that next week. All right?
All righty.
All right. I have a feeling I know where you're leaning on. All right. Let me get some music going back. Kenny, take us home.
All right. So we'll also ask who do you think is the best right-handed hitter of all time? Or maybe we'll qualify it to the last 30 years. But for now, this is Kenny Squared End.
Kenny.
with sports on the positive tip. We will see you guys next week. Go
All
Giants.
Right. Go Giants. All right. Talk to you later.